Do you have an old phone lying around your house? It is time to make it a powerhouse. Okay, so the device I have right here is a Samsung Galaxy Tab A from 2015. It is already 5 years old and it has only 2 gigs of RAM with 16 gigs of storage, which is actually pretty old considering all the new technology that even tablets, low-end tablets pack in 2020. So what we are going to do is that increase the performance that this thing gives by a huge margin. It can be anything from your perspective. It can be a small performance increase to a huge increase, but there will be an increase. Considering your old device, the performance increase can be the same way. It could either be a very small increase or it can be a huge increase. So let's take a look. First thing that we should always do is close all apps quite often. Now this thing is quite irrelevant for phones that are out in 2020 because the amount of RAM that today's phones pack is quite large comparing to what apps can consume. But when we are considering this to the 2015, 2014 phones that are already out for a long amount of time, the amount of RAM they have is quite low and pretty much of them is get used by the operating system. So in my case, the operating system that this tablet uses is Android 7.0 Nougat, which is actually too more stressful for a 2 GB RAM device. So closing all the apps quite often is actually one of the most effective ways to increase the performance of this phone. Second thing that we can do is use a different launcher. Of course, launchers are one of the most effective ways to increase the performance. It can be a very little performance increase to a huge. For example, if you own a OnePlus device from like 3 to 4 years back, the performance increase may not be that much because OnePlus devices are quite good optimized, but considering this device, the performance increase will be day and night. You cannot imagine how much performance this thing will gain after I use a different launcher. So the launcher that I am using here is Smart Launcher 5. I will have a link to it down in the description, and I literally think this is one of the best launchers out there. It actually makes the operating of this device so smooth that it can actually rival any 2020 phone running Android 10 and packing maybe 4 times more the amount of RAM this thing has. Now why I actually suggest you to use a different launcher is that stock software comes with lots of bloatware which can slow down the performance of your device by quite a large margin. Also, we get apps preloaded with devices, some which many people do not use. So using those launchers will not only put those apps to a resting or disabled mode, but also increase the performance by a huge margin. The next thing that we can do to increase the performance of our old phone is to root our phone. Yes, rooting a phone is actually a very effective way to increase the performance of our phones. Why I actually suggest people to root their phones is that rooting will actually get you rid of large amounts of preloaded software that actually came with quite a lot many operating system skins from 4 to 5 years back, and in that way you can actually increase the performance of your device by a huge margin. Obviously for this device I actually did not root it because the launcher was enough to give a great performance with it. But if your phone or device is older than this, you might actually want to root your device. The next thing that we can do to increase the performance of our phone is including custom ROMs. Yes, custom ROMs may be difficult to install, but once you have done them, the performance difference is going to be day and night. Same way, this device did not just need a custom ROM to get it into an optimized state, so I did not do it. The next thing that you can do is overclock your phone. Yes, overclocking is quite a helpful way to get a huge performance, but you might not actually see it. I have not overclocked this device because the chipset in it is very old and it is quite weak. But considering some other devices which may have flagship chips from 4 to 5 years back, you can easily overclock your device to get a huge performance increase. So guys, that's it. I hope you find this video helpful. You can actually get your old phone back up and performing as good as your 2020 phone. And with that said, I'm Otto and I am signing out.